Welcome to your Love Compatibility Pick a Card reading. There are three groups here, or three decks or selection of cards to choose from. We've got the rose, the shell, and the amethyst, or the stone. So you tell me. Take some time to go ahead and maybe focus and look at each of these decks to see which one applies to you and the compatibility, the true compatibility of you and your partner, or that you're currently seeing, or your love interest. Is this person even worth pursuing? You know, does the future look great? Does it look challenging? These cards will hopefully shed some light onto those questions for you. Hopefully it will resonate. So yeah, I'll give you a moment to look at the three selected cards, some groups of cards. Have a sip of my coffee while you do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So we will start with deck or selection number 1, the rose. I'm actually going to put this here as well. Okay, so Spirit's overall advice for this connection is come to the edge. Make sure you guys can see that. So, come to the edge. The book reads for number 36. Well, obviously, you know, the card does depict, and even the description does explain, you know, a coming to the edge, a taking a chance, being brave and following your heart. So it says here, the essential meanings are courage, taking a leap of faith, overcoming fear, and accepting risk. So that will be the advice for your relationship, is to overcome the fears that you have and accept that there's always going to be a risk, especially when there is, you know, a worthwhile relationship on the other side of that. Okay, so it says here, facing the unknown is the only choice you really have right now if you want to progress. It's okay to be afraid. Now is the time to take a risk that is not calculated, to feel the exhilaration to feel the exhilaration as you ready yourself for a leap of faith. Spirit is present, so let go of fear. You were called to express your true self. Listen to your heart and soul, not your head. Come to the edge and discover that you can fly. You must step into the unfamiliar so that you may find your miracles. Okay, so that's the overall advice for the relationship. So it also goes on to say, it's scary to be truly intimate with someone, to allow him or her to see all of you, especially the parts that you've kept hidden and protected. Now is the time to take that risk and let yourself be truly seen, or be seen, truly seen. It's important that you speak up, voice what you need, state who you are, say what you hope for. This is not the time to play it safe, but to take a leap of faith. You'll be glad that you did. If you're seeking a relationship, the same applies. Take one step towards the gods, and they will deliver what you truly desire. So you have to act in faith, it looks like. Okay, so we've got a card here for communication. We've got a card here for the emotional love styles and the compatibility there. So compatibility with regards to communication, compatibility towards love styles, compatibility towards shared goals. Watch spiritual lessons or paths, how compatible they are. How compatible in terms of feelings. More so, how will you feel in the relationship as well. And then we've also got how the future looks for you. Okay, so With the Empress card, with regards to communication, the most amount of communication you're probably going to get is by way, especially with the Six of Coins being here in terms of the love styles. I think it will be through gifts, anything that kind of eases the senses. So it could also be sexual. You may be very compatible sexually. That's where the strongest kind of communication is. You may also share similar values with regards to self-care, love, and family. And this may help your communication. Your communication may be very loving, very supportive, very stable. And with the Empress card as well, it's very above board. It's very high energy or high vibration. It's also the energy of Taurus. So we are looking at communication around stability and beauty. That's how you're going to be communicating with each other, you know, discussing maybe those topics, or just kind of very sensual in your communication. There'll be a lot of talk about love. It'll be very romantic, very focused on the future and serious relationships. There'll be a lot of potential being talked about. I think, in fact, a lot of the foundation will be laid by communication. But I would say with the Empress card here, it's saying that communication will be very positive between you two. You'll have good communication, and there'll be a lot of sensitivity and a boosting of each other's egos and confidence. You'll feel, I think, very proud to be with each other. And yeah, I think there'll be a lot of talk again about potential, about what could be. There'll be a lot of plans. And also the Empress card talks about manifestation. So you may need to also be careful about how you talk to each other, because how you talk to each other probably will manifest itself. Planting seeds as well with regards to communication. That's going to be happening. So just be careful what you say and what you focus on most, I think, with regards to, like, in your communication will actually probably come to fruition. There'll be a lot of talk about the future as well. So your love styles here with the Six of Coins. I would say that there's a good compatibility here. Again, we've got reciprocity. I feel that you're both quite focused on the material. You could both be, again, talking about material things that it may be quite important to you, luxury, building for the future, creating a good foundation for a family. So yeah, you're both, I think, quite focused on money and you know, the luxuries in life, and you may be very generous towards each other as well in how you communicate. There'll be a lot of compatibility here. Between you. It will be very much about give and take, fairness. Again, what you put into it, you're going to get out. But your love styles look to be very compatible, and you're both going to believe in, again, there's a strong Libra energy here as well. So maybe it's a Libra that you'll be dealing with. But it's very much about, okay, what you put in, I put in. You're very, you know, there's a lot of reciprocity between you in your love style. So you're very attentive with each other, or you will be if you decide to embark on this relationship. There'll be a lot of generosity and helping each other as well. But it'd be very much a case of a lot of fairness. You know, one is not going to feel like one's given more than the other, and vice versa. And if that is the case, then it may be that something will be said about it, you know. So then we've got shared goals in terms of compatibility. So it looks here like shared goals looks pretty good. You both, again, seem to be quite inspirational or be very inspired and driven by your passions. You both are leaders, it looks like. You both believe in achievement, in following your heart, in being an entrepreneur, having your own business, not doing things by halves, but really being brave and being pioneers in the world of work and in your career and maybe just in how you make money. I can see here that ego is a big thing as well. I think you're both quite interested in your image and how you look to other people. That's also something that you share with regards to your goals. You're both maybe trying to make names for yourself. And I think, again, here you are very much about helping each other get there. Yeah, and I think you both want these luxuries in life. Your spiritual lessons here, we've got the Five of Wands. So there may be some conflict here with regards to spiritual lessons. Again, I'm seeing strong egos here between you two. So sometimes it may be that it's hard to prioritize like who really gets to be heard here, who has the last word. You're going to have conflicts around that, okay? And that will be part of your spiritual lesson, is learning how to listen to the other person and their needs and wants, and also making sure that you're heard as well. Looking at joint goals will be important, like looking at what it is that you're both trying to achieve here, meeting on the same page. Because I think that you're both quite confident, ambitious people, and that's one thing that brings you together. But at the same time, it's also a challenge because you maybe both feel like you kind of have the last word on things, and maybe both like to be right and both like to be leaders. So that might be a bit of a challenge. So it's actually finding that sweet spot in that situation, and that sweet spot will be found by actually stepping back from wanting to be right and looking at what it is that you both want in this situation. What is the joint goal? Compromising on ego. That's going to be the spiritual lesson of the relationship. Knowing that basically ego doesn't have a place really when it comes to love. I guess it doesn't really have. It's not conducive. I mean, it's great. Ego is great in the workplace. It's great out in the world. But when it comes to how your partner feels and the needs of the relationship, ego really probably just gets in the way. It very rarely aids the connection. It kind of creates a boundary, because I guess in relationships, that's where you're supposed to be very honest and very open and in touch with your feelings, rather than trying to prove a point so you look good, because you're not really going to be fronting, I guess, or putting up a mask with your partner. That's who you should actually be. That should be the person that you are completely yourself around, and that you are vulnerable with. So that would be the spiritual lesson, and that's why you've been brought together, so you can balance out your egos. But you are both very focused on luxury, and you talk a lot about the future and making money and things like that. And we've even got 8 of coins here for what your future looks like. So yeah, it is looking like you will both be focused on your work and career, and making names for yourself and developing yourself, studying and things like that. So how your partner will feel in the relationship, or how you will feel in the relationship, is the Page of Swords. So you may feel like sometimes it's quite hard to keep your head maybe in this situation with the Page of Swords here, that sometimes communication is a little bit maybe slightly too optimistic. I don't know how you could be too optimistic, but I am kind of getting that there's an energy of the Page of Swords needing to see and cut through to the truth of the matter. So that could be the challenge really of this, this is the spiritual kind of growth point. It could be that with the Page of Swords here, it's quite hard sometimes to be clear in communication. Often it is quite there's a lot of hot air, I feel, to an extent. Although the Seven of Cups is not here, there's enough cards here to let me know that the egos are quite big. So there could be a lot of hot air. There could be a lot of things said that are quite fanciful or extravagant. And you have to, with the Page of Swords here, kind of cut through what actually is achievable, what actually makes sense, and what is just talk for the sake of having an inspirational and fun, lively conversation, and actually kind of keeping yourself grounded in some sort of reality. And using your head in the situation. You're learning lessons as well around new ways of thinking and communicating here. With the Page of Swords, you may feel that you're really sharpening your sword when it comes to arguments, and ensuring that arguments that are had between you are it does have a focus on getting to the truth rather than just trying to make a point, trying to be right, but actually just trying to get to the truth of the matter and clear the air, cut through the smoke or the untruths. Yeah, so this relationship is really making you grow stronger in your whole mental agility and birthing new ideas and maybe perspectives when it comes to communication. Okay. There'll be a lot of talking. You may feel like there's a lot of arguments, that there's got to be a lot of raw, brutal honesty a lot of the time, maybe as well. So yeah, you may feel like there's a certain harshness in the relationship as you're both learning how to communicate more honestly. Okay. Even though communication, we've got the Empress card here. So the Empress card, yeah, like I said, it could be talking about a lot of potential, a lot of what could be. And you may find yourself having to really kind of ask the right questions to figure out, okay, so I know we're talking about what could be, and we're like planting all these seeds, but what's actually possible? What's actually the truth here in our communication, or what's being said? So yeah, staying grounded may be the overall kind of experience. I mean, from your perspective, that's how it will feel, that you are having to keep your feet on the ground while your head's in the clouds, kind of thing. So yeah, the Eight of Coins says that yes, it will be challenging in a way, but it is definitely going to up level you, both of you. You're probably going to help each other's careers in some way, or money wise. This relationship, I think, will make you better individually, and maybe as a couple as well. I think you'll just do better financially, and it will be a maturing kind of process as well. You'll both become a bit more mature, more focused on what matters, putting the work in when it comes to the relationship, and also maybe, like I said, in the actual working world, putting work in. So yeah, so the overall advice has come to the edge. I think this means, again, like letting go of some sort of ego, fears around maybe letting somebody else take the lead in some cases, knowing when to kind of back away from an argument, knowing when it's worth arguing, knowing how to pick your battles. That could be a challenge for you as well. Just going to look back on this. So yeah, taking leaps of faith is the overall advice for this situation here. So maybe you're on the verge of starting something new with this person. Maybe there's been a lot of talk about possibilities, and it's time now to maybe take that leap of faith. The Page of Swords can also be someone who is very hesitant, very skeptical about the relationship, and has a lot of questions and is generally quite untrusting. But it's saying here that there is quite good compatibility here. It's very positive cards. Communication looks very fruitful. Looks very, romantic even as well. Very feminine, very understanding. Lots of talk of stability. And the Six of Coins shows that your love styles, your love languages, again, will be quite compatible. You both place a high value on money and gift giving. That could be your style, generosity of time and resources, reliability. Again, you seem to both share this. There's no conflict there. And your shared goals, again, is about making a name for yourself in the world, and pioneering in something, and kind of making your stamp, making your mark in the world. You both seem to be quite compatible, but I think you have doubts. You're not easily trusting, and I think Come to the Edge might be saying, well, anything worth its weight in gold, will require some sort of risk, and you'll never know until you try. So come to the edge, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the second. Do the shell. Second selection. So Spirit's overall message is all that glitters. All that glitters is not gold. That's usually how the saying goes, right? Yeah. Okay, so it looks like we've got a commitment here in the near future. You may feel bound in this connection. You may feel like you just can't get away from this person. You could also feel that you can't get enough of this person as well, that you may be addicted to this person. All these major arcanas here as well. It is looking like, if you have picked this deck, there's going to be a lot of wish fulfillment and commitment, and they're giving a good sex energy here as well. But let's go ahead and read All That Glitters. Let's see what that's got to say. So again, I'm relating All That Glitters to the Devil card here. So I think what's happening here is these advice cards is more about coming back to you. How will you feel? This is the position of how you will feel in the relationship. Let's go ahead and read it. Number 16. So it says, a need to see beyond the superficial. That's the Devil card. The desire to don a mask or dress something up to disguise its true nature. Trying to be something you're not. Chasing every sparkly new thing. Being mercurial. So it says here for the relationship message, I'll just read that. It says, sometimes we try to become something we are not to impress others. We embellish a story a bit, adding some dramatic elements to make us more appealing. The real person becomes hidden behind the sparkle and shine. Then there are times when we don't see the true value of someone else because he or she may not have the glitz and glamour that seems so desirable. Now is the time to look past the surface, beyond the mask, to the essence of a person, who that person is, not what he or she has or can give you. is important. See beyond the glitter and look for the inner glow. Use the eyes in your heart. Let go of artifice and let what is authentic shine. Okay, so the Devil card often talks about being materialistic as well, and being attracted to the more material, earthly pleasures, such as, you know, money, food, sex, you know, and even, you know, earthly pleasures like drug taking and things like that. So I don't know if that could also be an element here. We do have the Strength card here as your shared goals, which does talk about restraint, and trying to have a more virtuous existence, and also showing compassion. So I feel that these shared goals here are to live a virtuous life, to commit, I think, to one person as well. That's what I feel here. Like, it's really about committing to one person, you know, not spreading yourself thin, but instead focusing on one person. And that's what your shared goals are, is that you want to have a real, virtuous, honest and meaningful relationship. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So with the communication, we've got the Queen of Pentacles. There will be a lot of talk about money and the future, buying a house, buying a home for a family. Yeah, a big focus on money will be, will be talked about a lot in this connection. I think there'll be a lot of sex as well with the Queen of Pentacles and the Devil card and the Strength card and even the Sun card. It's going to be a highly sex relationship. There'll be a lot of sensual, physical pleasures. That'll be quite important. You may even be wanting a baby, planning to have a baby with this person. There could be a lot of talk about that, talk about family. It could also be as well, especially if you are an earth sign watching this, especially if you're a Capricorn or Taurus even, that you could be, the communication could be where one person makes more effort than the other as well. And I think if you're the earth sign, I feel like you will be waiting, like the other person will be contacting you more. You know, they will be communicating with you. They'll maybe even be chasing you through communication, calling you, texting you, and you, because there's an energy here of someone very much knowing their worth, and being quite a seductress as well, in a sense. Maybe they'll be quite seductive kind of talking, and conversations that kind of draws this other person in to your world. There is this kind of attraction, you know, this law of attraction energy that's happening as well. And it could be that the more that you talk about finances and money and those kind of things, that you draw it more towards yourselves as well. But you are very focused, I think, on financial stability. That's called, the conversation does talk a lot about the finances, and your financial security, with regards to a long-term future, having children or having a house or living a certain lifestyle, things like that. So we've got here for the emotional love styles or love languages, what's the compatibility there? And we've got the Sun card, so it looks like you will again be very compatible here, as in deck number one. A lot of compatibility, a lot of honesty, will be the love style that will be adopted between you two, and there'll be very much a lot of confidence, a lot of fun. Again, I'm seeing a lot of sexual activity, that will be important, but it's not a sexual thing as in, you know, it being surface level. You know, I feel you're really using sex as a way to connect, as a way to express each other's kind of real selves. That's where you really connect, I think, in the relationship, is through sex. It's almost like an act of honesty and that act of vulnerability, completely showing each other who you are. Yeah, and there'll be a lot of love here, a lot of love, very loving, very accepting, not a lot of judgment, you know. So yeah, it looks really lovely. And as I was saying, with the shared goals here, with the strength card, I think that you both would like to have, like I said, a very virtuous, honest and committed, serious, mature relationship that is virtuous. I'm trying to think of another word, but yeah, like an honest, real, loving relationship where you're both committed to each other. And although I think you've both maybe got high sex drives, maybe you're both quite, you know, young, or you know, both just have high sex drives, or you know, yeah, it's like you want to make sure that it's tamed, and it's not, it doesn't get sordid, it doesn't get addictive, it doesn't become like this the main focus of the relationship, but it should be a means to an end, not the actual end point, if you know what I mean. You don't want to make the sex the priority. You both want to channel that sexual energy into a more kind of pure outcome. I feel, yeah, I just feel like it looks like your shared goals is to live a virtuous life. That's not all about, you know, immediate pleasure, you know, showing strength and resilience in life, holding out to get the holding out for the real thing. So I think you both really value long-term relationships, and you really see the value in that, and you really see the good that comes from a more meaningful relationship. But yeah, your shared goals, I think, is to become the best people that you can be as well, this virtue again. So yeah, maybe there's an element here of you being Christian, religious in some way, especially with the Hierophant card here, wanting to, when I come coming back to virtues, wanting to be like, you know, good, you know, a very committed Christian kind of couple or something like that. Maybe you're holding out, you know, until you get married or something like that. I do see marriage here in the future with the Hierophant card. That's definitely a possibility. But I think there's definitely an energy of delaying pleasure and seeing the value in things that maybe aren't so glittery. Okay, so we've got the spiritual lesson here is the Nine of Cups. Wow. So you're both, the spiritual lesson for the both of you is to be happy. To be happy and to celebrate yourselves as individuals. Love each other, build each other's self-esteem, generosity as well are kind of spiritual lessons that you are learning. But also, again, I'm seeing long-term kind of the ultimate happiness, the ultimate wish fulfillment, that sometimes takes time, that takes time to achieve and to get to. It's really about holding out for what it is that you really want. Learning how to do that, learning how to not compromise with the shiny things, but really holding out for what it is that you want, that ultimate Nine of Cups experience of really getting the most highest level of love and emotional satisfaction. So there is this holding out here for the best version of the best outcome, So yeah, a lot of wishes, I think, are here that I think you both want to fulfill. Quite lofty goals in a sense as well, quite big dreams that I think you have. You want a long-term, serious, proper relationship. I would also say as well that with the Nine of Cups, it is about just being happy, learning how to be happy. Holding on to your dreams. And that's the lessons that you're both learning. So I did want to say something else, but I forgot. So yeah, I think it's just about holding out, I think, for those more long-term goals. And achieving them, you will get it. So yeah, I think that you're learning lessons around, nothing good comes easily. It takes time. So yeah, I've already mentioned the devil as being how you're going to feel. So you may be very tempted a lot of the time to, tempted by glittery things. Again, with the strength card here, there could be this kind of feeling of, especially if you are more maybe waiting till you get married, or waiting before you get married to have sex, or waiting, really kind of delaying pleasure in some way. There's going to be a lot, you're going to feel very tempted to just give in. You're going to have a very strong pull to just follow whatever you maybe normally would habitually do. So this could also be about breaking patterns in your approach to love. Maybe in the past you have moved fast, or faster than maybe you wanted to, or really felt benefited you. Yeah, that's what the Nine of Cups is about as well. Is that maybe sometimes you have settled for what glittered in the past, and now it's about holding out for your ultimate wish fulfillment. And I think you both will get that in this relationship because you're so determined to be virtuous. But there will be a lot of acceptance here between you two. You'll be very honest with each other, and it'll be more, maybe it might be more of an innocent, with the Sun card here, very kind of innocent energy here, because it does represent children. And really getting to know each other, maybe on a more of a friendship level as well, possibly. Again, with the Queen of Pentacles, it's kind of holding back, allowing people to come to her. So that could be happening here as well. But yeah, you will be very tempted maybe to fall into old patterns, or just to indulge in pleasures and forget about delaying pleasure and just satisfying yourself in the moment. You may find that to be a challenge. But with the Devil card being here, it does say that it will be a lesson that you will learn. That there's a good chance that you will overcome this. Okay. So we've got the Hierophant card here for how the future looks. Again, we're seeing here that it's likely that there will be a long-term commitment, a promise made, and it will be very much, again, part of a religious organization. So you might be like, you might, get married in the church, and commit to a faith, as a couple. Family is here as well. So you could actually end up forming a family together. But this talks about social structures and institutions. So it could be that you just follow a very ordered, an ordered kind of approach, doing things in the right order, not skipping steps, nothing superficial about this in the future. It will be very, again, I'm getting mature and traditional, So yeah, that's the reading. So for the amethyst, we have got message in a bottle. That's one. Can you even see that? Let's put it like this. Probably still can't see that. Sorry. Sorry, I have to put it just like that. So, message in a bottle. I'm going to go ahead and read from the book. So it says here, communication, a sign, Cledon, the ancient name for a spontaneous oracle delivered innocently by the speaker, pointing the way to your highest good. So it says here that you can expect someone to favor you with positive news. This could be in the form of a letter, phone call, or email. You are the intended receiver of this message, so stay open to what you learn. Only good will come of it in the end. The signs are all there. So you've been asked to pay attention to the signs in this relationship and listen to what is being said. It could be that, especially when we got the High Priestess, yeah. So there is like this reading the signs, especially with what is said in the communication position. Yeah. So we've got the Ten of Pentacles for your emotional style. Again, good compatibility there. And also I got as well, believe what you hear. If someone shows you who they are, believe them. Okay. Listen to what is said. Or maybe it might be in cases, what they don't say might also be more of an indicator of who they really are, what they're really coming from. It may not be anything sinister. It may be something really good. This person may not be very good, maybe at expressing how they really feel, but maybe it might be a case of what they're not saying, or little things that they do say about other things, away from more romantic conversations, that might give you an indicator as to who they really are and what they really want. So we've got the Knight of Rods, the Queen of Swords for how you'll feel in this situation, and then we've got the Lover's card here as what will happen in the future. So as we said here with the High Priestess, there could also be a lot of kind of intuitive communication. You may feel quite psychic communication. You could be a little bit quite telepathic in some ways as well. Communication is definitely a highlight here in the relationship. So you may have a very evolved kind of way of communicating with each other. I feel that, be very intuitive, and I think you'll easily be able to read each other's body language. A lot will be understood by what's not said. And with the High Priestess as well, it does show me that there will be certain things that will be hidden, certain things that there may still be kind of secrets, or this person may kind of unravel themselves quite slowly, or you them, in terms of how when you're communicating, you're not going to just both kind of put it out there. It'll be a lot of telling each other what you need to know. Like it'd be on a need to know basis. Especially when it comes to emotions and how you really feel, a lot of that will be hidden. So quite a controlled approach towards, you know, expressing yourselves in communication. But then, like the message in the bottle says, and the fact that it's High Priestess, it's saying that still nothing will really be hidden. Like your intuition and maybe even your partner's intuition will just figure out really what's being said here, even though not a lot is being said in a very direct way. So like you might even find each other talking in riddles or talking in a way that's not really direct, but it may be saying a lot more, even though only a few words have been said. So we've got the 10 of Pentacles for your love styles. So again, we're seeing compatibility. It looks like the way that you express your love to each other is through loyalty and commitment. It looks like maybe you both want these things. I feel like your partner will want to have more of a traditional setup, or maybe you will, where your partner is more of a protector to you. And finances are very important. You may both be looking for a long-term relationship and a family. And I think ultimately loyalty is the way that you express your love to each other, and your commitment to practically helping each other, maybe financially, and being there as support to each other, maybe financially or with regards to finances in some way. You may both also have quite high hopes when it comes to making money. You may be really all about kind of investing in the now for the future, or investing in the future. That could be also signs of love towards each other. The investment that you make towards the future may be quite important, you know. We've then got the 6 of Wands for your shared goals and compatibility there. So your shared goals are about one thing. Well, what you do share in terms of your goals is being recognized. You both want to be recognized and appreciated for what you bring into the world. You maybe both want a certain amount of fame, maybe, or sorry, there's cats and mowers and everything going on outside. Sorry about these crazy noises you're probably hearing. But yeah, the 6 of Wands talks about winning and reciprocity, being appreciated, being acknowledged, being seen. So maybe you're both working on those things at the moment, working on developing your careers, so that you do sorry, there was a pigeon that was getting on my nerves. So I do love animals, don't get me wrong, but on my windowsill they can't be there. They make too much mess. All right, so yeah, your shared goals, yeah, it is about being recognized. You both want to be recognized. I think this could also be to do with this energy here. You money, fame are something that you both want. Recognition. You could be wanting recognition in your fields. You know, like someone might be into architecture and the other might be into gardening or something, and you both want to be recognized in those fields. And also confidence, developing your confidence, and especially with the Knight of Rods here in your spiritual lesson, yeah, that is a shared goal for both of you. I think that you've been brought together by the universe to develop your own individual sense of confidence and bravery and courage as you go out there into the world. Because I do see some shyness here with regards to communication. And I think loyalty is going to be really important for you to develop that trust and to feel like you can express yourself freely. This shyness could have been brought about because, especially maybe from your side, because of past hurts, and also maybe your more detached approach to this, being very careful about what you say, and also being very judgmental about what you're hearing as well, maybe even a bit critical. But the Knight of Rods here is the spiritual lesson. It is to be brave, it is to be a pioneer, it is to gain this confidence. I think you're both trying to achieve even as individuals. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, with the Queen of Swords, you will be feeling that there may be like trust issues in the relationship. You may just not feel that, trust may be a stumbling block for you. You may tend to be more pessimistic about things, or maybe not pessimistic, but more cynical. And also with the Queen of Swords here, yeah, as well, it can also talk about someone that keeps things like surface level, doesn't really let their feelings get involved in things. So you could find yourself being very logical about things, very, very matter of fact, and try not to get your emotions involved in any decision making, and just sticking to the facts. Always wanting justice and always making sure that things are fair. So you could be quite worried about being taken advantage of. You could have those kind of fears. However, the Queen of Swords also as well, I think a lot of people forget to mention, she is also someone that is very clever and often is very witty, and usually got a very good sense of humor. She'll make you laugh. She knows how to say the right things at the right time. She's got good timing, so. But again, that feeds into the whole lightheartedness of it, and not really making everything said in jest, and you may find you may find your partner being a lot like that, and you having to kind of really cut through what they said a lot of serious things are said in jest, right? So you could find yourself trying to figure out what's really being said, so you could really have your thinking cap on in the relationship, having to be quite clever and figure things out. So communication will be key for you. I think you're advised as well, again with the messages in the bottle, it is saying to be honest as well in your own communication and to be clear with that. And then we've got the Lovers card for the near future, which is quite beautiful. It does talk about commitment, it does talk about sexuality, it does talk about, again, that air energy of having to make a decision about the relationship as to whether or not you want to take it to the next level or you want to stay in your comfort zone, okay, and not take that risk. Communication is going to be absolutely key. The Lovers card also talks about communication between two people. It can also talk about good communication between two people as well. And I am seeing here honesty and opening up, and trust and vulnerability here in this card. So yeah, there may be some sort of renewal as well in the near future with regards to love, and loving feelings and romance, and the connection may have a kind of renewal as well. But it does look pretty steamy, and yeah, I am seeing the relationship developing, and there being a lot more honesty in the relationship between you both, and maybe some risks kind of being taken to open up as well. So yeah, that's your compatibility spread. Hope that you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this reading, please do like, share and subscribe. I do honestly, truly, very much so appreciate it. And also check out my website for some really cute Christmas gifts for you and your family. Okay, I love you all. Take good care, and bye bye.